For over 3 decades, the Roloff family has lived their lives in the public eye. We've watched them build a farm, raise a family, and navigate the incredible highs and devastating lows that come with reality television. We know the cast of characters by heart: Matt, the ambitious patriarch; Amy, the resilient matriarch; and their 4 children, the pillars of the family legacy: the twins, Jeremy and Zach, their sister, Molly, and the youngest, Jacob. We've seen their weddings, their arguments, the births of their own children. We thought we knew the whole story. But what if we told you that the entire foundation of the Roloff family, as we know it, is built on a lie? What if the 4 children we followed for years aren't the whole story? We are about to reveal the family's most deeply buried secret: a 5th child, a lost sibling, hidden from the world for over 30 years. This is the story of the child they thought they could forget. If you believe that secrets this big deserve to be brought into the light, then you need to subscribe to this channel right now. Hit that like button and turn on notifications, because our investigation is just getting started. And every single update we post will send shockwaves through the little people, big world community. You are not going to want to miss a single second of this unfolding drama. The story of Roloff Farms is, in many ways, the story of the American dream, magnified and complicated by the unique challenges of dwarfism. Matt and Amy Roloff, 2 determined individuals with big aspirations, bought a fixer-upper property in Helvetia, Oregon, and transformed it from a simple plot of land into a sprawling, magical agritainment destination. The world was invited in through the lens of TLC's cameras, and we became invested. We were charmed by the pirate ship, the western town, and the whimsical castle Matt built for his children. The farm wasn't just a business, it was the backdrop for a family drama that has captivated millions for years. At the very center of this drama, the heart of the entire series, has always been the family tree: Matt and Amy and their 4 children, Jeremy, Zach, Molly, and Jacob. This family structure has been presented as an unshakable fact, the core truth from which all other storylines grew. The dynamic between the twins, Jeremy and Zach, one average height, one a little person, was a central theme from the very first episode. Molly, the bright and responsible daughter who eventually chose a life away from the cameras, provided a sense of stability. And Jacob, the rebellious youngest son, offered conflict and a raw, unfiltered perspective that often clashed with his family's public image. We've been told this is the complete picture. The official narrative, repeated in countless interviews, in their books, and on the show itself, is that Matt and Amy started their family with the joyous and challenging arrival of their twin boys in 1990. Their family story, as we know it, begins there. But our sources and a trail of breadcrumbs hidden in plain sight suggest the real story began much, much earlier, with a chapter that was violently torn out of the family history books. To understand the secret, we have to go back to a time before the cameras, before the fame, before Roloff Farms was a household name. We must travel back to the late 1980s. Matt and Amy were married in 1987. They were young, in love, and facing a world that wasn't always kind to little people. Matt was a driven computer software salesman, and Amy was a preschool teacher. They were building a life together, filled with hope, but also shadowed by uncertainty. This is the period of their lives that is the most private, the least documented. The show, of course, began much later, and their public narrative tends to gloss over these early formative years. But it is in this murky pre-fame era that the seeds of this secret were allegedly sown. Our investigative team began by re-examining the sparse photographic evidence available from this time: old blog posts, scanned family photos shared in the show's early seasons, and images from their own books. At first, everything seems normal. Wedding pictures from 1987 show a happy couple surrounded by family. Photos from 1989 show them settling into their life together. But then there is a gap, a strange, unexplainable void in the visual timeline. For a period of several months, stretching from late 1988 into mid-1989, there is a noticeable absence of clear, full-body photographs of Amy Roloff. In the few images that do exist from this time, she is often pictured from the chest up, or sitting down with something conveniently placed on her lap, or standing behind Matt. At the time, no one would have thought twice about it. But in the context of what we are about to reveal, this photographic void becomes a glaring red flag. It's what isn't there that tells the story. It is a period of time that, according to our inside sources, the family has made a concerted effort to scrub from their public history. A period of several months where we allege Amy was carrying the family's firstborn child. The official story, the one Matt and Amy have curated for decades, is that their journey into parenthood was a straightforward, albeit challenging one. They married, and a few years later, they were blessed with twins. It's a clean, simple narrative that fits neatly into the wholesome image of the family they would later present to the world. But the darker picture, painted by whispers and long-forgotten memories, is far more complex and heartbreaking. We managed to track down a former neighbor of the Roloffs from their time in California before they moved to Oregon. This individual, who has requested to remain anonymous to avoid the inevitable media storm, we will refer to as Diane. Diane lived just a few houses down from the young couple and remembers them well. They were a sweet couple, Diane told us in a guarded phone call, but there was a lot of pressure on them, tremendous pressure. According to Diane, the whispers in the neighborhood began in late 1988. You could tell something was going on, she recalled. There were hushed conversations. Cars belonging to their parents would be there at all hours. We all knew they were facing challenges, but this felt different. There were whispers of a pregnancy that was being kept under wraps. Diane claims that the prevailing rumor at the time was that the young couple was overwhelmed. They were struggling financially, and the prospect of raising a child, especially with the genetic uncertainties involved with their dwarfism, was terrifying to them and, according to Diane, even more so to their extended families. It wasn't just about them, Diane explained. There was family pressure, concerns about their ability to cope, concerns about the child's health. It was a different time back then. The support systems weren't what they are today. The story that went around was that a decision was made, a heartbreaking decision, to give the child up for adoption. It was seen as the only way. This account, if true, paints a devastatingly different picture of Matt and Amy's early years. It suggests a story not of a carefully planned family, but of a crisis, a secret, and a choice born of desperation. A choice to erase their first child from their lives. For decades, this secret remained buried, a ghost in the Roloff family machine. The move to Oregon, the purchase of the farm, the birth of the twins a year or so later, it can all be seen as a way to start over, to build a new life on top of the old one, to create a new, brighter story that would eclipse the darker one they left behind in California. And for over 30 years, it worked. The world fell in love with the Roloff family of 6. The existence of a 7th member, a firstborn, remained a specter known only to a handful of people. Until now, the age of information has a way of digging up even the most deeply buried secrets. The rise of commercial DNA testing and genealogy websites has reunited thousands of families, solving long-held mysteries and uncovering hidden truths. And it was one of these websites that allegedly became the key to unlocking the Roloff family's greatest secret. Our investigation has led us to an individual, a successful and well-adjusted adult living on the East Coast, who, for the purposes of this report, we will call Joshua. Joshua was adopted as a newborn and raised by a loving family. He had a good life, but like many adoptees, he always felt a piece of his identity was missing. A few years ago, he submitted his DNA to a popular ancestry website, hoping to learn more about his ethnic background, maybe even find a distant cousin. He never could have imagined what he would uncover. Initially, the results were unremarkable. But then, a few months ago, a new, shockingly close DNA match appeared in his profile: paternal first cousin. The name connected to that profile was a name familiar to millions of television viewers: Jeremy Roloff. Joshua was, understandably, confused. He knew of the Roloffs and the show Little People, Big World, but had never considered any personal connection. Driven by a newfound burning curiosity, Joshua began to dig. He cross-referenced his own sparse adoption records, which listed his birth year as 1989 and his birth state as California, with the known history of the Roloff family. He discovered that Matt and Amy had lived in California during that exact time frame. The pieces began to click into place, forming a picture that was both unbelievable and, to him, undeniable. This brings us to the unseen truth, the dark secret that our sources claim was the real reason behind the alleged adoption. It wasn't just about financial pressure or the fears of young parenthood. According to information we have obtained from a source with knowledge of the alleged legal proceedings, the adoption was precipitated by a major family scandal they were desperate to hide. This source claims that at the time of the pregnancy, there was immense turmoil within the extended Roloff family. The pressure on Matt and Amy was not just internal, it was external, allegedly stemming from a powerful family figure who believed that bringing another child with dwarfism into the family at that specific time would bring shame and unwanted scrutiny during a sensitive business dealing. This was not a choice made out of love or what was best for the child, the source alleges, but a decision forced upon them to protect a family member's reputation and financial interests. The adoption was, in effect, a transaction, a baby for silence, a secret for the sake of preserving a carefully constructed family image. Matt and Amy, young and vulnerable, were allegedly railroaded into a decision that would haunt them for the rest of their lives, forced into a pact of silence that they would uphold for more than 3 decades. They were told to forget, to move on, to start fresh, and to never, ever speak of their firstborn son. For Joshua, this discovery was life-altering. The happy story he had been told about his adoption, that his birth parents were young and unable to care for him, crumbled, replaced by a much darker, more calculated narrative. He was not just given up, he was, in his view, discarded, hidden away to prevent a scandal. As he processed this information, his quest for identity transformed into a quest for justice. He wasn't just looking for his parents anymore. He was looking for answers, for acknowledgement, and for what he believes is his rightful place in the family legacy. This is where the story shifts from a personal journey of discovery to a legal battle that threatens to shatter the Roloff empire. Understanding the magnitude of this situation requires concrete evidence. Speculation and whispers from anonymous neighbors can only take us so far. And our investigative team has spent weeks corroborating this story, and what we have found is nothing short of explosive. The first piece of evidence is what our sources are calling the smoking gun. We have obtained a leaked copy of a DNA report commissioned privately by Joshua's legal team. The document is exactly what you would expect from a court-admissible paternity test. It features the letterhead of a highly reputable, certified DNA diagnostics laboratory based in Seattle. The report lists 2 sample subjects: Subject A, Joshua, last name redacted, and Subject B, Matthew Roloff. The sample for Matt was allegedly obtained covertly through a discarded item to avoid alerting him to the investigation. The results are laid out in cold, scientific detail, a comparison of genetic markers, and analysis of alleles, a string of data that is indecipherable to the layman. But the conclusion, printed in bold at the bottom of the page, is chillingly clear. It reads, the probability of paternity is 99.97%. There is no ambiguity. There is no room for doubt. The science allegedly confirms it. Matt Roloff is Joshua's biological father. This DNA report became the cornerstone of Joshua's legal strategy. The second piece of evidence we've acquired is a copy of a legal letter sent via courier to Matt Roloff at Roloff Farms in early September of this year. It is not a friendly introduction. It is a formal cease and desist letter penned on the intimidating, expensive-looking letterhead of a high-powered Portland law firm known for handling high-net-worth family disputes. The letter is 7 pages long, and its tone is utterly uncompromising. We can share excerpts that have been verified by our legal consultants. The opening paragraph states, "This letter serves as formal notification that our client, Mr. Joshua, redacted, is the biological son of your client, Mr. Matthew Roloff, a fact established by the enclosed certified DNA analysis. We demand an immediate cessation of any and all attempts to disperse, sell, or otherwise transfer assets related to the Roloff Family Trust or Roloff Farms, pending a full and transparent accounting of these assets." The letter goes on to accuse Matt and Amy of decades of fraudulent concealment and intentional infliction of emotional distress upon their client. It demands not only public acknowledgement of Joshua's existence, but also a retroactive stake in the family fortune, including a percentage of all earnings from Little People, Big World, a share in the profits from the farm, and a legal right to a portion of the inheritance, equivalent to that of the other 4 Roloff siblings. It ends with a stark warning. Should you fail to comply with these preliminary demands within 30 business days, we are fully prepared to file a lawsuit that will make all details of this matter, including the scandalous circumstances of our client's birth and subsequent abandonment, a matter of public record. This letter is not a request for a reunion. It is a declaration of war. It is a meticulously crafted legal weapon designed to force Matt Roloff to the negotiating table, using the threat of public humiliation as leverage. The third piece of our evidentiary puzzle comes from digital forensics, what we call social media snooping. Long before any official contact was made, Joshua, like any modern investigator, was using the internet to quietly piece together the puzzle of his biological family. Our team traced Joshua's digital footprint and found a pattern of behavior that, in hindsight, is incredibly revealing. Months before the legal letter was sent, Joshua's social media accounts show a sudden and intense interest in Hillsboro, Oregon. He began following the Instagram accounts of obscure local businesses, a coffee shop near the farm, a hardware store Matt was known to frequent, even the official tourism page for Washington County. He liked a Facebook post from a distant cousin of the Roloff family, a post so insignificant that the like would have gone completely unnoticed by anyone not specifically looking for it. He even briefly joined a Facebook group for fans of Little People, Big World, before leaving it a few days later. These are not the actions of a casual observer. These are the cautious, calculated steps of someone trying to understand the world they were denied, gathering intelligence from a safe distance before launching a frontal assault. He was watching them, learning their habits, their routines, their lives, the lives he should have been a part of. The culmination of the legal threats, the DNA proof, and the mounting pressure led to what our sources describe as a tense and secretive first meeting. This was not a tearful, heartwarming reunion for the cameras. It was a cold, calculated legal summit arranged by lawyers on neutral ground. The meeting allegedly took place at an anonymous office building in downtown Portland in late October. In the room were Matt Roloff, his personal attorney, Joshua, and Joshua's two high-powered lawyers. Amy, we are told, was not present, a strategic decision to isolate Matt and position this as his secret to handle. Our source, who was briefed by a member of one of the legal teams, described the atmosphere as ice cold. There were no hugs, no apologies, no expressions of fatherly regret. The meeting began with lawyers speaking for their clients. Joshua's team laid out their case, presenting the DNA report and reiterating the demands from their letter. They spoke of Joshua's right to his identity, his heritage, and his inheritance. Matt's lawyer countered, questioning the legality of how the DNA sample was obtained and making it clear that Matt would not be bullied. For the first hour, Matt and Joshua allegedly did not even make eye contact. They sat at opposite ends of a long conference table, two strangers connected by blood but separated by 30 years of secrets and lies. Then the lawyers suggested their clients speak directly to one another. What followed was not a conversation, but an explosion. Joshua, his voice reportedly trembling with a mixture of anger and pain, finally spoke. He asked Matt a single, direct question. Why? He didn't ask about the scandal or the money. He asked why he was given away. Why was he erased? Matt, cornered and under immense pressure, did not offer the heartfelt confession Joshua might have been hoping for. Instead, according to our source, Matt became defensive. He spoke of the pressures of being young, the difficulties they faced, and the lack of resources. He framed the adoption as a difficult but necessary choice made for the child's own good. This explanation was, for Joshua, the ultimate insult. He saw it not as an apology, but as a self-serving justification. He accused Matt of cowardice, of choosing money and reputation over his own flesh and blood. The conversation escalated rapidly. Joshua brought up the farm, the show, the millions of dollars the family had earned by selling a lie, a perfect family of 4 children. He stated that every dollar they made was, in part, his, built on the foundation of his absence. It was at this point that the meeting completely broke down. The argument shifted from the pain of the past to the cold, hard reality of the present, the inheritance. Matt allegedly accused Joshua of being nothing more than a shakedown artist, an opportunist who only showed up when there was money to be made. Joshua fired back, shouting that he wasn't after a payday, but justice, and that his share of the Roloff fortune was the only form of justice Matt would understand. The meeting ended with both men on their feet, shouting across the table, their lawyers physically stepping between them. Matt reportedly stormed out of the room, leaving Joshua standing there, his questions unanswered, his anger palpable, and the battle lines irrevocably drawn. The aftermath of this disastrous meeting sent a seismic shockwave through the Roloff family. The secret could no longer be contained. Matt was forced to inform his other 4 children of the situation. The reaction, as you can imagine, was one of utter shock, disbelief, and a profound sense of betrayal. Jeremy, Zach, Molly, and Jacob have spent their entire lives believing they were the 4 and only Roloff siblings. Their identities are inextricably linked to that dynamic. To learn that they have an older brother, a brother who was intentionally hidden from them, has shattered their entire understanding of their family and their parents. Our sources close to the family describe a state of complete and utter chaos. Zach, who has always had a complicated but ultimately loyal relationship with his father, is said to be feeling deeply betrayed. He feels that his father's lies have tainted the entire family legacy, the very legacy he has fought to be a part of on the farm. He feels lied to not just by his father, but by the very narrative of his own life. Jeremy, who has cultivated a public persona based on family values, intentional living, and authenticity, is reportedly struggling to reconcile this revelation with the image he sells to his followers. The hypocrisy is not lost on him. How can he preach about family bonds when his own family is built on such a monumental deception? Molly, even the private one, has allegedly withdrawn even further, horrified that this intensely personal and painful family secret is about to become a public spectacle. She has always avoided the drama of the show, and this is the ultimate inescapable drama. And then there is Jacob, the prodigal son, the family rebel who has long accused his family of manufacturing a fake, happy narrative for the cameras. For Jacob, this news is a twisted sort of vindication. He always knew there were secrets, a darkness lurking beneath the surface of the happy farm family. But even he could never have imagined the secret was this big. While he may feel his suspicions are justified, he is also said to be furious on behalf of the brother he never knew, a person who was cast aside in a way that resonates with his own feelings of being an outcast. The betrayal extends to Amy as well. While she was not at the meeting, the secret is as much hers as it is Matt's. The children are now looking at their mother through new eyes, questioning every story she ever told them about their family's origins. The trust that once held the family together, already fragile from the divorce and the ongoing farm disputes, has been completely pulverized. The siblings are reportedly divided. There are arguments, accusations, and tearful phone calls. Some feel a degree of sympathy for what their parents must have gone through, while others can only feel the sting of the lie. They are not just grappling with the existence of a new brother. They are grappling with the fact that their parents, the two people who were supposed to be their anchors, are capable of such a profound and lasting deception. This news threatens to do what the divorce, the farm battles, and the public scrutiny never could: tear the Roloff family completely and irrevocably apart. The four siblings who grew up as a unit are now fractured, their shared history now feeling like a work of fiction. And looming over them all is the question of the man named Joshua, the ghost who has returned to claim his place, a man who is either a long-lost brother seeking justice or a stranger determined to burn their entire world to the ground for a share of the ashes. The future of the Roloff family, their farm, their fortune, and their television legacy now hangs in the balance, threatened by a 30-year-old secret that has returned with a vengeance. The four known siblings are no longer a united front. They are four individuals reeling from the same betrayal, but processing it in dangerously different ways. This is no longer just about a legal claim. It has become a battle for the very soul of the family. And the battle lines are being drawn not just against the outside world, but within the walls of their own homes. The carefully constructed image of the Roloffs is about to be set on fire, and we have a front row seat to the inferno. Our sources inside the fractured family circle paint a picture of absolute pandemonium. The four siblings are splintering. On one side, you have Jeremy. Jeremy, the entrepreneur, the brand builder, the man who, alongside his wife Audrey, has crafted a public identity around the concepts of marital covenant, generational faithfulness, and leaving a family legacy. This revelation is a direct assault on his entire brand. We are told he is furious not just at his parents for the lie, but at this Joshua for threatening to dismantle everything he has worked to build. In a heated, multi-hour phone call with Matt, Jeremy allegedly demanded his father make this go away. He sees Joshua not as a brother, but as a corporate raider, a hostile actor attempting to seize assets he has no rightful claim to. His position is clear: pay him off, silence him, but do not, under any circumstances, acknowledge him as a Roloff. To do so would be to admit their family story is a fraud, and for Jeremy, the story is everything. On the other side of this internal war is Jacob, always the skeptic, the one who walked away from the show calling it inauthentic. Jacob is reacting in a way no one expected. While he is reportedly disgusted with his parents' deceit A significant portion of his anger is directed at the rest of his family's reaction. A source very close to Jacob tells us he sees Joshua not as a threat, but as the ultimate victim of the Roloff machine. He sees a man who was cast out for the sake of appearances, the same appearances Jacob himself has railed against for years. In a screaming match with Jeremy over the phone, Jacob reportedly yelled, "For once, can we stop thinking about the brand and the money and think about the human being who was thrown away so we could have this perfect little TV life?" Jacob the outcast feels a natural kinship with the man who was literally cast out. He has started doing his own digging, not to debunk Joshua's claim, but to understand it. He is becoming a rogue agent within the family, a seeker of the truth his parents tried to bury. Caught in the crossfire are Zach and Molly. Zach, who has stayed closest to the farm and to his father, is torn apart by loyalty and a profound sense of personal injury. He feels like his entire life, his identity as one of the Roloff twins has been cheapened. He feels foolish, like he's been playing a part in a play where he never knew the first act. He has allegedly been refusing most of Matt's calls, needing space to process the fact that the father he has emulated and fought with is a stranger in many ways. Molly, characteristically, has retreated into silence. She is horrified by the public nature of the threat and is said to be overwhelmed by the sheer scale of the deception. Her greatest fear is seeing her family's dirtiest laundry aired out for the world to see, a fear that is about to become a stark reality. And what about Amy Roloff? So far, she has remained a figure in the background of this unfolding crisis. Matt took the meeting, Matt is the target of the lawsuit, and Matt is the one doing the damage control. But the secret is hers as much as it is his. Our sources reveal that Amy's experience of this secret is vastly different from the pragmatic, almost business-like narrative that Matt has been pushing. We have learned from a longtime friend of Amy's that she did not see the adoption as a choice, but as a surrender. She was, according to this friend, a young, scared mother, isolated and under immense pressure from Matt and his family to make a decision she was not emotionally prepared for. She grieved that baby for years, the friend told us. She was told it was for the best, that they couldn't handle it, that it would ruin them before they even started. She was convinced to sign the papers, and a part of her died that day. She has been living with that ghost her whole life. This paints Amy not as a cold co-conspirator, but as another victim of the circumstances. And now, with the secret exploding into the open, she is faced with an impossible choice. Stand by Matt's version of events to present a united front, or finally speak her own truth, a truth that could exonerate her in the eyes of some of her children, but would mean declaring open war on her ex-husband. The pressure is mounting, and we have received an but credible report that Amy has attempted to break the stalemate. 3 weeks ago, she allegedly sent a secret email to Joshua, sent from a new anonymous account. The email was brief, just a few sentences. It reportedly read, "I know you have no reason to listen to me, but the story is more complicated than you know. I am so sorry. I need you to know I am so sorry." It was a desperate Hail Mary attempt to open a channel of communication, a mother reaching out to the son she never knew. As of our reporting, Joshua has not replied. While the family implodes, the legal battle has escalated with terrifying speed. As threatened, after the 30-day deadline passed with no satisfactory response from Matt's team, Joshua's lawyers filed the lawsuit. It was filed in the Circuit Court of Washington County, Oregon, ensuring maximum local media attention. The legal filing is a public document, and we have obtained a full copy. It is a work of legal aggression, a 40-page document that lays out the entire story in excruciating, damning detail. The suit formally names Matthew Roloff as the defendant, but also names the Roloff Family Trust and Roloff Farms, Inc., effectively freezing any major transactions. The filing alleges not just paternity, but several explosive civil counts: fraudulent concealment, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and tortious interference with expected inheritance. It details the alleged scandal, claiming that a senior member of the extended Roloff family, who is not yet named as a defendant but is referred to as John Doe 1, coerced Matt and Amy into the adoption to protect a multi-million-dollar business merger that would have been jeopardized by the public relations nightmare of a child born with a severe form of dwarfism. The lawsuit goes on to estimate the total value of the Roloff estate, including the farm, intellectual property from the show, and various business ventures, at a figure well in excess of $50 million. It demands a full fifth share for Joshua, plus punitive damages for the decades of emotional trauma and financial disadvantage. But the most invasive part of the lawsuit is the discovery request. Joshua's lawyers are not just asking for money, they are asking for everything. They have formally demanded all financial records of Matt Roloff and the Roloff Family Trust dating back to 1989. They have demanded all correspondence between Matt and Amy related to the adoption. And in a move that strikes at the heart of the Roloff empire, they have subpoenaed TLC. They are requesting copies of every contract the Roloff family has ever signed, all records of payment, and most shockingly, any and all unaired footage from the show's entire run, where the subject of family history, past secrets, or the number of children was discussed. They are looking for a single moment where Matt or Amy let something slip, a crack in the facade, that they can use to prove a long-standing pattern of intentional deception. The Roloff family's entire life, public and private, is now subject to a legal colonoscopy. Faced with a public lawsuit, the Roloff camp could no longer remain silent. Last week they responded, not with a heartfelt confession, but with a cold, calculated public relations maneuver. A statement was released through a high-priced Portland PR firm attributed to Matt Roloff. It reads, "Our family is saddened by the baseless and outrageous claims being made by an individual seeking to exploit our public profile for financial gain. While we have always been a target for frivolous lawsuits, this attempt to rewrite our family's history is particularly painful. We have full faith in the legal system to expose these claims for the meritless extortion attempt that they are, and we will not be commenting further on this private family matter. We thank our fans for their continued support." The statement is a masterclass in deflection. It acknowledges nothing, denies everything, and frames Matt as the victim of a greedy opportunist. It's a declaration of war in the court of public opinion. But Joshua's camp was ready with a countermove. 2 days after Matt's statement, a personal letter from Joshua was leaked to a prominent, sympathetic online blogger who covers adoption stories. The letter was emotional, articulate, and designed to elicit maximum sympathy. In it, Joshua wrote, "This was never about money. This was about a search for identity that led me to a truth I never could have imagined. I did not ask to be born into a famous family, and I did not ask to be hidden from them. To be called an extortionist by my own biological father is a pain I wouldn't wish on anyone. All I have ever wanted is acknowledgement and the truth. If a lawsuit is what it takes to get that, then it is a cross I am willing to bear. I am not trying to destroy the Roloff family. I am trying to be acknowledged as a part of it." The public is now caught between two perfectly crafted narratives. Is this a story of a greedy stranger trying to cash in, or the tragic tale of a lost son fighting for his identity against a family that values fame and fortune over flesh and blood? As the PR battle rages, the search for hard evidence has intensified, and our investigation has unearthed another key piece of the puzzle, a document that adds a new, mysterious layer to the story. We tracked down Joshua's original birth certificate from the California Department of Public Health. It is an amended copy, as is common with adoptions, but we were able to obtain a court order to unseal the original. The document confirms the date of birth in 1989. In the box for mother's name, it clearly reads Amy Knight. Knight was, of course, Amy Roloff's maiden name, but it's the box for father's name that is truly perplexing. The box is not empty. It does not say unknown. It contains a single typed name, Ronald. Who is Ronald? This is a question that has thrown a wrench into the entire case. Matt's legal name is Matthew. Our research has found no immediate family member of Matt or Amy with that name. This single word on a birth certificate opens up a host of new scandalous possibilities. Was Matt using a pseudonym to hide his involvement from the very beginning? Or, and this is a far more explosive theory, was Matt Roloff not the biological father after all? Could Amy have had a secret relationship? Was the entire adoption not just to hide a child, but to hide a child of infidelity? This discovery gives Matt's legal team a potential bombshell to drop. They can argue that their client is not the father, and the name Ronald is proof. It forces Joshua's team to rely solely on the privately obtained DNA test, which Matt's lawyers will continue to claim was obtained illegally and is therefore inadmissible. The only way to solve it would be a court-ordered DNA test, a test Matt will fight tooth and nail to avoid. The identity of Ronald has become the central mystery within the mystery. As if this weren't enough, we received another call from our source, Diane, the former neighbor. After our initial conversation, she had gone digging through her old photo albums from the late 80s. She found a photo from a neighborhood block party in the spring of 1989. In the background, partially obscured behind a barbecue grill, is a shot of the Roloff's old house, and parked in the driveway is a car she didn't recognize, a dark, expensive-looking sedan. That car was there all the time during those months, Diane told us, her voice hushed. It belonged to an older gentleman, always wore a suit. He used to visit them constantly. We all thought it was some kind of family elder. He had an air of authority about him. Diane couldn't remember the man's name, but her description of him is a chilling match for the description of the powerful family figure alleged in Joshua's lawsuit, the man who allegedly forced their hand. The puzzle pieces are snapping together, forming a picture of conspiracy and coercion that is darker than we ever imagined. The family is at its absolute breaking point. The lawsuit, the public statements, the revelation of the birth certificate, it's all too much. The siblings are barely speaking. Matt and Amy are communicating only through lawyers. The atmosphere is one of paranoia and distrust. And it is in this toxic environment that Jacob Roloff decided to light a match. 4 days ago, he made a public post on his Instagram account, an account followed by hundreds of thousands of people. He didn't issue a statement or make a direct accusation. He did something far more subtle and far more damaging. He posted a stark black and white photograph of a single withered branch broken off from a large, healthy tree. The caption underneath was cryptic, but to anyone following the story, its meaning was crystal clear. It read, "A family tree can't stand if its roots are poisoned by lies. Sometimes the broken branches tell the truest story. The truth will always, always come to the surface. It's time." That post was a declaration of independence. It was Jacob, the family truth teller, signaling to the world that he is breaking ranks. He is not standing with his father's denial. He is not standing with his siblings' panicked silence. He is standing with the truth wherever it may lead. The fan community has erupted. The post is being screenshotted, shared, and debated across every social media platform. Has Jacob just publicly confirmed the existence of his lost brother? Has he just declared war on his own family in the most public way imaginable? He has drawn a line in the sand, and his actions may have just forced the entire Roloff family and TLC to face the secret they thought they had buried forever. The foundation has cracked. The question now is, will the whole house come crashing down? Does this lost sibling have a right to the Roloff fortune, or are they a con artist destroying a family for a payday? More importantly, with Jacob now fanning the flames, will the family be forced to finally tell the truth, or will they double down on the lie that has defined them for over 30 years? You be the judge. And make sure you are subscribed because our next update will have the answer.